This is Texas Judge KP George and his Chief of Staff, Terrell Patel. Now, Patel is about to give an interview where he's saying Trump supporters are attacking him because of his race.
It doesn't matter what my policies are. They're coming after my race, my religion, my nationality, which is American. But, I've been called Indian, Pakistani, so many different things that are not even accurate. But our goal is to respond back with love.
That was Terrell Patel on The Factor last year when he claimed he was a victim of racism in the political race for county commissioner.
Then, shockingly, Patel got arrested because he was the one making these fake hate crimes.
More new information tonight on this story. The arrest of a candidate for the Fort Bend County Commissioner's Court.
Yeah, police say Terrell Patel created a fake social media account, then used it to make racist attacks against himself. He's facing a felony count of online impersonation. In newly obtained court documents, authorities allege Patel stole a Needville man's photo, used it to set up his fake Facebook persona for a man he called Antonio Scallywag.
After Patel was arrested, authorities then found that his boss, sitting Judge KP George, was doing the same thing during his re-election campaign, faking hate crimes.
The Fort Bend County judge is now being investigated for alleged election fraud. Judge KP George is accused of knowing about fake posts made by his former campaign consultant, Terrell Patel.
Then authorities got enough evidence to indict the judge on faking hate crimes against himself. A sitting judge.
George is accused of using a fake social media account to attack himself and others by posting racist and xenophobic comments. Officials believe George did this in part with his former Chief of Staff, Terrell Patel, to gain sympathy support in the 2022 election. George ultimately won for a second term.
Tonight, Fort Bend County Judge KP George was booked into jail just after 7 p.m. This is his mugshot. George is accused of posting fake racist messages to make it appear he was the target of hate during his 2022 re-election.
Okay, so we have this sitting judge and his Chief of Staff who have both been indicted for impersonating Trump supporters and committing racist hate crimes against themselves. I'm not joking. All right, so our story takes us back to 2022 when KP George is running for judge of Fort Bend County, Texas.
Experience mirrors that of countless others who have found their place and purpose in Fort Bend County. When I became the county judge almost 6 years ago, Fort Bend County was going through a transformation with a population of almost 800,000 people. Fort Bend population has grown over 500% in the last 40 years.
Now, during that election, an online account popped up. The name was Antonio Scallywag. Now, remember that name. Antonio Scallywag is going to be really, really important to our story. Now, Antonio Scallywag went on Facebook and started attacking the judge for being Indian running for judgeship in Texas. Now, these attacks were racist, and the judge even made a statement about these attacks.
Well, Fort Bend County's top elected official is speaking out over what he says is a rise in hate speech towards him ahead of the November election.
ABC 13's Jonathan Bruce is in our newsroom with details and his opponent's response.
Fort Bend County Judge KP George is an Indian-American immigrant, and he was elected by the county in 2019. He says he's gotten forms of hateful rhetoric before, but now he says just over a month from early voting in the November election that the hate speech is, quote, at an all-time high. And get this, he's calling on his opponent to put a stop to it. Now, on Monday, George's office shared a letter with ABC 13 describing a rise in racist and xenophobic messages towards him on social media. He also posted the letter on his Facebook page along with screenshots of some of the comments. Now, we chose not to reshare those hateful messages, but in an interview today, George estimated that over the past few weeks, his office has received more than 100 of what he called, quote, hateful conversations. So I asked the judge what he thinks is the reason for the rise.
It is about the election. There is a midterm election coming. I am on the ballot for re-election, and that's where last maybe few weeks, maybe a month or so, it started heating up. This has to stop. And the sad thing about it is many of these people are my opponent's supporters. And that is, I haven't heard anything from my opponent denouncing this action. And that is concerning.
Well, we did in fact hear from Judge George's opponent, Trevor Nels, just a while ago in a statement to ABC 13. You see it on your screen. He wrote, in part, "This is typical from far-left Democrats. They do everything they can to turn elections into an issue of racial division to distract from their failures of leadership." Now, I asked Judge George, why come forward with this now? He said he wants to send a clear message to people who do this and people who might be the subject of it that there's no place for hate in Fort Bend County.
Now, Antonio Scallywag was never found, and KP George won that election, even though it was a narrow win.
Fort Bend County judge race where incumbent KP George defeated Republican challenger Trevor Nels. It was a narrow race, and George says that he is thankful for the public's choice.
The residents of Fort Bend County spoke, and end of the day, that's the most powerful institution. Democracy spoke.
So now let's fast forward 2 years later. KP George is the sitting judge, and his chief of staff, Terrell Patel, decide to run for one of the county commissioner seats. And he then launches his campaign with the support of his boss and mentor, KP George.
I'm Terrell Patel, and I want to show you my Fort Bend. The neighborhoods, the schools, the people that made me who I am today. My folks came to Fort Bend in the 80s from India, and I grew up in the small businesses they worked in to pay the bills. They were part of the wave that made Fort Bend the most diverse county in America. To me, we were just Texans. My service at the county, I was named Citizen of the Year and was recruited by the president to work for the White House.
Now, during his campaign for county commissioner, something very interesting happened. This guy, Antonio Scallywag, showed up and started making these racist, hate-filled attacks against Patel like he had done 2 years earlier against Patel's boss. Here's Patel calling it out.
And thank you for joining us for the second half hour of The Factor Uncensored. A candidate for Fort Bend County Commissioner in Precinct 3 is exposing the racism and xenophobic messages sent to him. Terrell Patel posted them online. The words saying, "We don't need more San Negroid humans." One person said, "He's another dirty Pakistani," but it goes on, despite Patel being of Indian descent, born in Fort Bend County, the hate still rolled in. Some saying he doesn't know English, others saying he wasn't born in America, calling him a communist and a foreigner who wants to take away their guns and freedom. Is this our America? You damn right it is. Tonight, Patel is speaking out and says these kind of attacks totally cross the line. Glad to have you on The Factor Uncensored. Unfortunately, those circumstances are not so great.
That's right. I'm glad to be here. And look, we are always going to push back against hate, especially in a place like Fort Bend County that is so diverse.
All right, so we've got this character, Antonio Scallywag, popping up online, throwing around all these hate-filled comments. Now, before we dive deeper into who's really behind these racist attacks, I want to take a quick second and talk about something that actually adds value to your life. Something that gets you informed, not manipulated. That's why I'm so excited that the sponsor of this video, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free online courses. You can learn about the works of C.S. Lewis, or the stories in the book of Genesis, the meaning of the Constitution. You can check out the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, the history of the ancient Christian church. With Hillsdale College, you get it all, and it's available for free. Now, I personally recommend you sign up for the course, which I'm calling the ISMs. It's Marxism, Socialism, and Communism. This brand new online course is unlike anything Hillsdale has produced before. Now, over the course of 6 documentary-style episodes, you'll hear from Hillsdale professors of history, politics, and economics as they look at things like Marx's life and writings, the misery and brutality of the Soviet Union, the atrocities of communism, China, and the proliferation of the cultural Marxism in America. You'll also see how some of these ideas have rooted themselves in American politics today. It's vital that we take these ideas and historical figures seriously so that we can see the injustices and evils in them and be better equipped to defeat them. Now, all this is free, 100% free, and you can start that free course today. Just go to hillsdale.edu/Nate. That's hillsdale.edu/Nate to enroll. There's no cost and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/Nate to register. Now, back to the video. Now, this is where things get interesting. See, this is Andy Myers, and Andy Myers is currently the incumbent in the seat that Patel wants to win. Now, Andy Myers, being upset that his campaign was being called racist and all of his supporters were being called racist, he decided to beg the DA for Fort Bend County to look into it, to find who these racists were, to stop this attack against Patel.
Back in October, the DA's office received a request from Precinct 3 Commissioner Andy Meyer to look into who was behind several social media posts directed at his opponent, which is Patel.
So now the DA's office is involved, the Texas Rangers are involved, and we have to fast forward to June 2024. So the DA's office issued subpoenas to Facebook and Google because they wanted to know who the fake account belonged to. So when Google returned the subpoena, they found that the account data matched Patel. His address, his phone number, even his Texas driver's license number and bank card were all there in the account. And obviously some other personal information.
Meyer told investigators he recognized one of the accounts behind the comments as Antonio Scallywag. The documents then further detailed how they linked that account back to Patel, including getting a subpoena from Facebook and Google. From there, they were able to obtain account and payment information matching Patel's credit card number, address, phone number, and other personal data.
So police found that, in a shock, it was Patel who was sending fake racist messages about his campaign to himself. So on June 12, 2024, Patel was arrested for impersonating a Trump supporter. This is crazy. A Democrat from the White House was arrested for criminal impersonation of a Trump supporter.
Commissioner score.
Yeah, police say Tural Patel created a fake social media account, then used it to make racist attacks against himself.
Okay, so now investigators figured out that Tural Patel was Antonio Scallywag. But remember, back in 2022, Antonio Scallywag had done these racist attacks to Judge KP George. And Patel was KP George's chief of staff. So when police looked into Patel's text messages, they found that it was Judge KP George who was allegedly ordering Patel to fake racist hate crimes against both the judge and Patel himself. Here's what investigators found.
Fort Bend County Judge KP George of knowing about and taking part in Tural Patel's fake posting. Now, Patel, who's running for Precinct 3 Commissioner in Fort Bend County, was arrested and charged with these fake postings, making attacks against himself and other campaigns last month. He was using a fictitious name, Antonio Scallywag. But now investigators say the Fort Bend County judge knew about these fake postings against his own previous campaign. All of this in cooperation with Patel. Investigators saying not only did KP George know about the posts that were on his Facebook page, he actually told Patel, who was working as a consultant to his campaign at the time, to post these hate-filled comments on social media. This is a text message right here uncovered by investigators telling Patel what to write, and another one uncovered by investigators. This is from Patel to George, where he said, "I will use a fake account to counter them." All of this leading investigators to this conclusion right here, that the Fort Bend County judge did solicit, encourage, direct aid, or attempt to aid Patel in his misrepresentation in a campaign communications.
So authorities got a search warrant to look at the judge's stuff because it looks like he was okay in directing Patel to impersonate Trump supporters. Check it out.
Fort Bend County Judge KP George finds himself in the middle of one of the biggest political scandals in recent memory.
Now a search warrant accuses him of taking part in made-up racial social media posts with a candidate for a county commissioner who is now being charged. Fox 26's Randy Wallace joining us in studio with the details. Randy.
Yeah, Anthony, now it was shocking when Fort Bend County Commissioner candidate Tural Patel got felony charges accusing him of making up racist rants on social media, pretending to be the victim. Now County Judge KP George is accused of not only knowing but signing off on the fake racist posts. According to the search warrant, County Judge KP George not only knew Patel had allegedly posted all the awful racist remarks, he signed off on them.
Oh, puppet master. Straight up, nothing but that. Tural Patel was drafting and creating the post to put up and then getting approval. Let me know if you approve. I'll share the post with my fake account. Unbelievable. That works. Thank you. Post it.
Now, the judge issued a statement making sure it was clear that he didn't do anything wrong, and this was just a total misunderstanding.
I've been fully cooperating with the authorities and I have complied with them and provided all the requested items. they requested. On the advice of my attorney, I neither can comment nor answer any questions about the specifics of this situation. I will continue to perform my duties as the county judge with citizens of Fort Bend County overwhelmingly elected, I should say, for me to do. My focus remains on serving the residents of Fort Bend County to the best of my ability, and I have 100% faith in the legal process, and I trust that once all the facts are reviewed, and my name will be cleared.
Now, unfortunately for the judge, after a grand jury saw the evidence, he was indicted.
Some more breaking news that we're following at 6 o'clock. Fort Bend County Judge KP George has been officially indicted. He's accused of using a fake social media account to attack himself and others during an election.
Judge George is right now in his second term, and this Facebook post, I want to show it to you, from exactly 2 years ago today, seems to be at the center of this criminal allegation that Judge KP George posted charged political content to make it look like he was being targeted by his political opponent at the time. That's the allegation. Specifically, this persona named Antonio Scallywag, that's what it was on Facebook, states that Team Nels had been busy removing George's campaign signs at the time. The court docs say George assumed that identity and made that post.
So, KP George is now arrested and indicted. His former chief of staff, Terrell Patel, is arrested and indicted for impersonating Trump supporters on Facebook, which, again, is insane. But Terrell Patel is still running for county commissioner in Precinct 3. He didn't give up that spot. He said he still can win. So the voters had to decide whether they're going to vote for Patel or Andy Myers. This is how things turned out.
Now to one of the most talked about races, County Commissioner Precinct 3.
Republican incumbent Andy Myers is up against Terrell Patel, who has been indicted on 9 felony charges related to suspicious campaign activity. Let's get a quick look at the results here at this hour. Myers is leading the race with 59%. KPRC 2's Corley Peel joining us now live from the Brahman Tasting and Tap Room in Richmond. Corley?
Hey, Daniela and Keith, I'm actually joined here with Andy Myers right now, and you are leading this election right now. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. 59, 41, 18 points. That's pretty much insurmountable. I'm not going to declare victory just yet, but I think it'd be nearly impossible for my opponent to catch me.
Now, Andy Myers won re-election easily with 60% of the vote, blowing out Terrell Patel. So now, the sitting judge is now facing criminal charges in a Texas court, and so is Terrell Patel. But I think this story shows you how the Democrats had really nothing else in this election except identity politics. They couldn't trust that their policies would convince people to vote for them. They couldn't trust that they had the better message. They had to pretend that they were being attacked. They had to pretend that there were these evil racists attacking them for who they are, not for what they stood for. And they were so baked in that they thought anyone would believe that, hey, there are white racists in Texas attacking us. It's an obvious thing, but it wasn't. And it only took investigators to look under the curtain to see that these Democrats had nothing more than a shell game. Now listen, people, racism still exists, but now we're at the point where it's so limited that the Democrats have to manufacture the racism so they can still get votes. That's why Trump is going to be president. That's why the Republicans won everything. It's because identity politics is killing the Democratic Party. That's my opinion. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comments section, because I know there's going to be a whole bunch of you, Nate, you don't know what you're talking about. Identity politics works. America is racist. Well, you can continue to say and think that, but as you can see, the country's moving forward while you're still looking back. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. If you're listening to my voice right now and haven't subscribed, you've literally listened to a 20-minute video and been entertained, and the only thing I'm asking you to do is press that little button on the bottom so I can continue to do this for you. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.